Sure.
In past,
Cutaways or you want this?
sorry, you're Sergeant O'Neill, is it? Or?
Yes.
Yep. In the past, Sergeant O'Neill has told me that Vermont state troopers are actually pretty woefully underpaid as compared to those in New Hampshire, Massachusetts, other states. What do you do about that?
Well, we need to address it. I'll tell you why. We can't keep Vermont safe if we can't recruit and retain the best state police force in the country. Right now, it's pretty shocking. Vermonters may not know this, but at an entry-level position in the state police force in Vermont, you make $10 an hour or $20,000 a year less than if you cross the lake for a similar job. That's true throughout the benefit package of our hardworking state police, who every day risk their lives for our safety. So the reason it's so important to get a hold of the big spending problems in our state budget, for which I've applied, healthcare, corrections, and the other plans I've outlined, is so that we can start to ensure that we have the resources to balance our budget, to reduce taxes for Vermonters, and to pay our state police the wages that they will need to compete and retain a strong state police force. We're putting Vermonters' safety in danger when we have a problem recruiting new members to the force. We really are. And as governor, I'm cognizant of it. We're going to work together over time to correct this inequity.
So are you saying you would raise salaries? What do you mean by work together over time?
Well, I've been very clear with the state police that we're going into a budget year where we cut $112 million. We cut 168 2 years ago, 158 last year. We all understand the challenges we're facing. But it is my goal as governor to ensure that we solve this problem along with lots of others. You know, the next governor of this state is going to have to be able to juggle multiple balls in the air and land them at the same time. This is one of many. But we have a problem. We do not compete with our neighboring states when it comes to compensation for the people that are protecting our safety and putting their lives on the line for us every single day of the week.
Young Pay, what about staff? The raise doesn't include everything, up 24-hour coverage everywhere. Would you want more troopers?
Well, again, I say judge us by our record, not by our rhetoric. When this administration wasn't filling positions 4 years ago that had been funded by the legislature, I stood with Sergeant O'Neill and others and said, we can't keep our streets safe from criminals, from drug dealers, and from killers if we do not have the force on the ground to protect Vermonters. So I have a record there. Yes, we clearly need to have an adequate force in order to protect the state. And I think that that's tremendously important.
I'm sorry, I must be missing it. I was hoping you could explain your corrections plan one more time for me, how you're going to save money without releasing people before their sentences are up.
It's really very simple. If you are charged with a nonviolent offense in Vermont, you serve generally between a 1 and 3 year term. I have a 4-year plan to reduce the skyrocketing costs of corrections, which is asking Vermont taxpayers to shell out more money from their pockets than is wise, affordable recruitment. As they complete their sentences, not, as Brian Dubie says, not releasing them early, but once their sentences are completed, if we put the drug and alcohol counseling, the housing through VHCB, the mental health counseling, the reading and education skills and life skills in our communities, we can break the cycle where 70% of them are back in prison within 3 years.
When you say complete their sentences, are you talking about minimums or maximums?
Well, most of them serve minimums because they're in for things like writing bad checks, other non-violent offenses to feed their drug and alcohol-related dependencies. The other point that's worth mentioning is, on any given day, there are roughly 140 non-violent offenders in prison who have already completed their sentences but who we can't let out because there's no place for them to go. So let's be tough on crime, smart on crime. That's my record, that's my plan. What's Brian's plan? That's really the question here today. What? We should be frightened about a lot of things in the state. One of them is Brian Dubie has absolutely no plan to deal with the second largest area of growth in our state's budget when taxpayers are being overtaxed and overburdened. I have a plan.
And how much do you think this 4-year plan will save in the first budget year?
I can't tell you how much it'll save in the first year because it obviously depends upon how many non-violent offenders complete their sentences in the first year.
How can you say it would save anything in the first year, though? How can you say it wouldn't cost more in the first year?
As I've said, this is a 4-year plan. That's what my vision for Vermont spells out. I never said that it could be done in a year. This is going to be a 4-year plan to solve this skyrocketing costs for Vermonters. That's unaffordable, unsustainable, and asking taxpayers to pay.
Thanks, guys. Thank you very much.